Hi, I'm Kevin Coop, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. You know, there was a time in this country when it was believed that what was good for the United States was good for General Motors, and vice versa. Well, I'm not sure that time is here right now. You know, General Motors these days seems to be twisting slowly and painfully in the wind. They just announced their 29th recall this year. Let me say that again, it's 29th recall this year. What? Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. In between the time that I started preparing this piece and now, they announced their 30th recall this year. 30 recalls in 1 year. That is more than 2.5 million vehicles that have been recalled. You know, and that doesn't even count the 2.6 million vehicles, 2.6 million vehicles of these are small cars that are blamed for having faulty ignition switches that may have caused the deaths of 13 people. I mean, that's just extraordinary. GM is anticipated to have recall-related costs of more than $400 or $500 million this year. They've had 35 separate product investigations that have been launched this year. This doesn't even include the $35 million in penalties that they've paid to the federal government for safety violations. The numbers are just amazing. Now, there's been a lot of discussion in the media about culpability. What kind of culpability does GM have? After all, it really isn't the old GM, they say. This is a new GM. They went through bankruptcy. You know, are they responsible for all the problems that they've had? Well, you know, I have no idea how the courts might rule on such a question, but in my mind, well, there's only one consumer response to that. It is one of two words. They're both two syllables. One starts with bull, and the other one starts with horse. The numbers are off the charts, and to my mind, they only add up to one thing: a company that was steadfastly unwilling to deal with reality, that was in total denial about both its ethical, moral, and its legal responsibilities. You know, we know based on company memos that as far back as 2008, they were giving presentations in which employees were being instructed not to use certain judgmental words, not to say defect, but to say does not perform to design. And they were instructed not to be using words such as Kevorkian-esque, apocalyptic, Band-Aid, Challenger, Cobain, Corvair-like, death trap, decapitating, disemboweling, genocide, grenade-like, Hindenburg, impaling, rolling sarcophagus, spontaneous combustion, Titanic, or Widowmaker. I mean, who even has this conversation in company meetings without anybody standing up and saying, what the hell are we doing here? What are we saying about this company that we were saying we can't use these words? You know, John Oliver had a great line the other day. He said, when demons have sex, these words are their safe words. You know, now GM says that there are customers out there that are still willing to buy these cars, but I find that really, really hard to believe. I, as a customer, wouldn't spend $1 on anything that GM has made. You know, and at some point they may be forced back into bankruptcy. Well, I don't want to hear about it if they say, oh, you know, we may have to come back to the taxpayers for a bailout. I'm sorry. Yes, you know, there's no such thing as too big to fail. You failed on all sorts of levels. You know, this isn't just about legal bankruptcy or financial bankruptcy. This is about moral bankruptcy. And all the money in the world can't bail them out of that. You know, here's the business lesson. Next time you're having a business or an ethical discussion, think to yourself, what would GM do? And then do the opposite. That's the only way to learn from this situation. As GM goes, so goes the nation. Well, let me tell you something. If that's true, then this nation is in a lot worse shape than I thought it was. I can't even imagine that's the situation we're in. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this Thursday morning, and as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.